Welcome to the Jameson Files. I'm your host, Carrie Weber, and I actually can't believe this is the first time I've had this person on as a guest in our podcast because, my gosh, Mark, we've known each other for a while now. I don't
Long
even know how
time.
many years, but this is Dr. Mark Reichley of Coastal Cosmetic and Implant Dentistry in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and an incredible clinician, incredible doctor and leader, and a good friend. So,
Yes.
Mark, thank you for being with
Yes.
me today.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here with you.
We have already spoiler alert, we've already brainstormed what are the things that we could talk about in this episode, and my gosh, we could go a million different directions. But I really, because this is your first time on the podcast with me, and I venture to guess it won't be the last. But I'd love for you to let's start at the beginning, and I'd love for you to
Sure.
share a little bit. I love your kind of your dental story and how you've come to be where you are today.
Yeah.
Take us back in time a little bit and tell us how this all started for you.
Sounds good. I can definitely do that. So, born and raised outside of Philadelphia. So, go Birds. Eagles fan, Phillies fan, Sixers fan, Flyers fan, all things Philadelphia. That's where I also went to dental school at Penn. I graduated in 2008. From there, I made my way to the Navy. So I
Mm,
served with the US Navy for 4 years. My first year down in South Carolina at a Marine recruit depot in Beaufort, South Carolina. It was a fantastic first year experience coming out of school. Able to do a lot of wet-handed dentistry and get my skills and speed up, which was wonderful. From there, my dental career took a little bit of a twist, moving from land-based duty to a ship. So that took me from South Carolina to Virginia Beach, which is where I currently live,
mm,
um, to Virginia Beach, where I was on a ship on sea duty for 2 years. I've put down the handpiece for a majority of those 2 years, and I was on two deployments where I did everything from search and rescue after the earthquake in Haiti in 2010
wow.
to anti-piracy and leading a boarding team on the coast of Africa for 2 years in 2011 and 2012. I had a lot of experiences, again, very few clinical, but for me, I believe it was a wonderful step into leadership where I got to learn from a lot of amazing leaders above me, and I take a lot of those experiences still and hold them tight this day, and I reflected back upon them a lot. Um,
Mm,
fast forward, 2012 was my last year in the Navy. I decided that that was going to be my last year with the Navy, and private practice was rapidly approaching. So luckily, I was able to step into a billet at Oceana in Virginia Beach here. That's the air station, and do all the prosthodontics for that air station for a year. So I
mm,
went from 2 years of almost zero clinical dentistry to now a heavy year of Crown and Bridge, which was fantastic, setting me up for my movement and my transition from the military sector into private practice.
mm,
Stayed in Virginia Beach, joined a private practice that was independently owned, and it was very large. 8 locations, approximately 30 plus dentists. So a really big operation. Learned a ton, was very busy, worked 5 days a week, kind of grew a niche with that group on implant-based dentistry.
mm,
Um, Put myself through a lot of implant-based training over those years and became the go-to resource for either placing implants or implant challenged cases. Loved it, had a great time, made a lot of production, got my skill set and my speed up a lot. Got to the point where I wanted to take on cases that just didn't quite fit that business model, which was a high PPO, high volume model. So realized that at some point I'd have to probably search for my own practice, whether it was starting a practice or buying into a practice to then move into a model that could support my vision of more full mouth rehabilitation. Um, Around that same time, 2018, my current partner now was looking for an associate to come work for him in his second location that was having some challenges keeping a clinician around. Um, I told him I'd love to come work with him, not for him, but as a partner.
Hmm.
And a couple conversations down the road, we ended up coming into partnership in 2019 together. We had two locations at the time, again in Virginia Beach. Uh, Quickly, we knew we wanted to expand and grow from those two locations. So we ended up purchasing a large practice from a dentist who had a vision of retiring in 2 or 3 years after we purchased him. We closed on that Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2020. A month later, we all know what happened. COVID hits,
Mm.
right? So COVID hit. We had just bought this practice that essentially doubled our patient volume that we had from our first two practices. Three locations, sat quiet for 2 months. When we opened back up, the entire team at that newly acquired practice decided to retire.
Wow.
So all of the assistants, all of the hygienists said this is a time for us to go about and move on. We weren't interested in learning and trying to adapt and evolve into this new reality that we were all trying to navigate together. That was a challenge, as you can imagine. A few months after that, the dentist who we had purchased the practice from also said, "This is a great time for me to also set sail." Quite literally, he was big into boating, so he had a number of boats. So he literally set sail to Florida
Wow.
and retired. So we went from doubling our patient volume to now having no team in place to service that patient clientele volume. We moved the smaller second practice into that practice and just try to stay afloat for a year.
Yeah.
What I didn't mention that in 2020, we also, instead of just buying, not only did we buy that large third practice location, we also purchased 4 acres of land in
Mm.
primary location, Virginia Beach, and had started building our dream facility where we were going to move all these locations under one roof. So a lot was happening
A lot
very,
was
very
happening.
quickly. We broke ground in 2021 on that facility and moved in 2022. Lots of lessons learned along the way. One from buying a practice from a dentist who was thinking about transitioning, having to navigate through COVID
Mm.
with a lot of erosion of patients and team members that again were trying to learn this new normal, and then having to transfer and move a lot of these patients to bring them along with us, grow enough value that they would then make the move to our new location into our single building. And it was a very trying time. Thankfully, I think we came out on the other side okay. We in 2023 we started finding that we were busy in our new location. We were struggling with profitability. We were struggling with not just profitability, but free cash flow. And at the time, I didn't know what free cash flow was.
Mm.
So we had other friends, we meaning my partner and I, had other friends and other colleagues had sold their practices to corporate groups. Seemed like they did okay. We were wondering if now that we built this amazing facility that has expanded and the revenue has gotten to the point where we could probably never sell it to another dentist down the road. So thinking our only other options were probably selling it to a corporate based organization. So we started going down that path. We started engaging a broker to say, what's this valuation for this practice looking like? Um, does it make sense to take this practice to a transition and try to get out from some of this debt? We both, I'm speaking for my partner, we both enjoy the dentistry, but again, things were getting tight. Margins were getting more challenging to maintain. The cost of human capital was getting more expensive
Mhm.
with payroll. Materials were getting more expenses. Our cap expenses were getting higher from a repair, maintenance, and acquisition of technology standpoints. So, um, going down the normal broker relationship, trying to figure out what the valuation for our practice would be. We had a sit down with a broker, a very large broker, and we showed him our new facility that we were still growing into. We were hoping that we could find a group that valued us and wanted to
Mhm.
work with us to help grow out and expand into this space that we still had a lot of expansion and room to grow into. And the broker loved the facility, said all of the things that I expected him to say. Young dentists, a lot of runway. This is going to be great. Let's find you a great pairing to then grow and build with. And he said something that I was not ready for,
Mm.
which was, your practice has no value and I can't sell it.
Wow.
That that was a very tough pill to swallow. And I didn't believe him at first. I said, okay, in my mind, maybe there's value, maybe just not enough for what he wanted to
Right.
sell it for juice on his side. So I started saying, okay, well, I don't believe it. Let's go directly to a DSO that we know very well, um, that we believe we know very well, that works with what we believe with younger practice owners and has a more partnership based approach than maybe some other traditional DSOs. So we engaged them directly, went through a 4 to 6 month process of dating,
Mm.
flew to their facilities to meet their team. Um, when we finally came down to going through LOIs, realized very quickly the broker wasn't wrong. The broker
Mm.
was not wrong off the jump, saying, we, my partner and I produce enough where we are the business, we are the value of the practice, and we get compensated as such. But the profitability, the value in the business, um, wasn't there, right?
Mm.
After we take away paying off our debt service, having to fractionally have some cash out close and then roll the rest into a hold co where would hope to someday see some of that back, but never quite sure. There was nothing there. It
Mm.
was a very, very demoralizing moment for me, right?
Right.
I just walked you through all of the things that we went through to get to this point, right?
Yeah.
A partnership, going through that process, knowing that we have to grow this business because my partner and I are big producers. We like to be busy clinically. We enjoy clinical dentistry. We need to acquire more. So we went out and acquired a big practice. We bled and sweat through the trials of COVID. We've lost all these team members to retirement at one time, having to rebuild this,
Mhm.
built this amazing facility that we loved and we're so proud of. And now to hear what we went through and what we built really doesn't have value to anybody else but my partner and I.
Wow.
Um, that was a challenge, right? That was a dark time for a moment. And interestingly enough, and I think timing, right? God gives us the things that we're ready for when we're ready for them. And the timing of that bad news coincided with one of our biannual calls with our consultant, Jess Weber, and Drew.
Yep.
And we hadn't at that to that moment um unveiled what we had been doing this whole
Yeah.
time to Drew or Jess. I think personally, from a standpoint of, I was kind of embarrassed. I was a little bit
Mm,
ashamed. I felt like I had kind of gone down the path of I was okay with almost giving up if I could
mm,
get out from some of the stress and some of the weight that had been on my shoulders. The personal guarantees of the debt service, not having a lot of profitability. So the monthly cash flow from a personal standpoint wasn't that great. Um, so I think ultimately looking from an outside and looking really inward, I was a bit ashamed of sort of
mm,
what I was going through. And I expressed that to Jess, and in true Jess form, you kind of comforted me going, you're not alone in this, right? I
right.
have clients all of the time that are going through this same process where it kind of felt good to feel normal,
Yeah.
right? That I
Yeah.
wasn't the only one struggling, going through this, having this pressure and this weight that I
Mhm.
was trying to carry all alone. Um, in those same conversations, Jess mentioned that, he was also thinking about, hey, is there a way that Jess or I or anybody can help practice owners just like me really work on growing the most important part of our business, which is our profitability.
Mhm.
So we feel like we have options, right? Whether
Right.
those options are to be simply have a better lifestyle with less stress month to month, whether it's to go out and acquire other practices to scale and grow the business. Because when we all know this, right? When we go to a bank and we're looking for lending, what are they looking for?
Mhm.
Is the business profitable? Can it support the cash flow needed to take on additional debt service? Or when it is time to bring on an investor and transition the practice, that gets valued on the profitability, not
Mhm.
necessarily the clinical workings of the practice.
Yeah.
Um, I was all in, is if
Mhm.
there's a way that Jess and anybody else can help practice owners like me, right? Me personally, but also practice owners like me grow their profitability, have more options, de-stress and de-risk their
Mhm.
position. That's a home run. Let's start digging in on what that would look like.
Mhm.
So, since then we've been working on different options, different models, different ways of helping practice owners sort of level the playing field, right?
Mhm.
Getting access to maybe some scale that
Right.
corporate dentistry gets afforded, that the
Mhm.
private practice owner struggles to obtain. Can we solve some of the challenges, like this big fragmentation of vendors and services from the practices, right? My
Mhm.
marketing doesn't directly talk to my accountant who's doing the
Right.
financial side of things, or my bookkeeper, or my operations, my consulting group. They aren't talking to my rev cycle management, right? These things
Mhm.
aren't necessarily all working together. So we have this fragmentation that they're all looking to me as the practice owner to connect these dots. Guess what? Like most practice owners, what am I doing? I'm doing dentistry,
Yeah,
right? I'm
exactly.
I'm working chairside. So when I have a problem, my easiest lever to pull is not, hey, how can I be more efficient with my operations? It's I need to do more dentistry. I need more
Yeah.
patients to now do more dentistry with, right? Um,
Well, and
so if there's a
let me
way,
support let me give a little support of you, your partner, your practice. You know, already hearing from the story, all of you that are listening or watching from Mark's story, I mean, this is a person that is highly disciplined, very intelligent, You have a depth of clinical experience. I mean, you're not coming into this green. You
Right.
know, you're very savvy, and you probably feel like you've lived 30 years in the less than 10
N-
years.
No doubt.
Because I mean,
That's right.
something that you all have been really committed to since we've known each other is this vision and strategic planning. You come to the table with us on a regular basis. I mean, the vision is interesting. I always tell doctors, your vision's going to change over the course of your career. It just is. And yours has certainly done that. I mean,
That's right.
we've explored a lot of different paths for you all. And I think for you to have the vulnerability to say, this took us by surprise,
That's
and
right.
you all are exceptional clinicians, a
Thank you.
beautiful facility. I've been there,
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
exceptional team. And
The
I've
best
seen
team.
I've
The
seen you
best
with
team.
your team, Mark, and you are an incredible leader to your team.
Thank
And
you.
you all go and you do continuing education at the highest level clinically, COIS and other places.
That's right.
You're doing exceptional, high level, comprehensive restorative and cosmetic dentistry. So this is no like accidentally stumbling down the road of owning a dental practice. You all
Right.
have been very intentional in a lot of ways. But there's something about the financial and operations aspect of the business of dentistry that is very difficult. I think it's to your point. You also have to be the clinical leader. Like you're
That's right.
spending the majority of your working hours in an op, working
That's
with
right.
patients. And so, in addition to that, to have your eye on all of these different balls that you need to have your eye on is very difficult. And I just wanted you to give yourself a little bit of grace because you
No,
just
I
right when he told you you're not alone in this. There is so
yes.
much, I say, accidental execution of operations in dentistry. Um, Not because the doctors and practice owners aren't smart and excellent at what they do and good business owners if you are checking all those boxes, but there's something about the business of dentistry from the financial and profitability aspect that's just difficult.
It's
And let's also
difficult.
say this, ADA surveys, the American Dental Association surveys doctors every year at the start of the year. They have been doing this lately since the pandemic of what their top concerns for the year are. And for the last 2 years, the profitability of the practice has been in the top three:
Yeah.
insurance,
Yeah.
finding and keeping team, and the shrinking profitability in their
Sure.
practices. Um,
Sure.
so what you're speaking to is very real
Yeah.
nationwide. It's a hard lesson for you all to learn, but at the same time, I'm grateful you all learned it in the way that you did because you are actively exploring. You weren't a sinking ship. You were, pardon the reference to
The
ships.
Navy reference, I appreciated it.
You weren't a sinking ship. You were simply ready to explore what's next for us professionally.
That's
You've
right.
always been very proactive. You
That's right.
all know, see, and feel when, here we go again, the tides are turning for you, but it's getting bad. It's getting bad over
Uh,
here. But so you were proactively exploring that. The results and the answers that you got were not what you were expecting them to be, which can be
a
very
hundred
unsettling and
percent.
upsetting. But now here you are again, refocusing your path and exploring what's next, and finding the resources and the people to help you do that.
That's
But
right.
wow, what a lesson to learn. Um, I
That's
mean,
right.
what would you say to doctors? I mean, you are not alone. Top three biggest concerns of 2026, one of them being the shrinking profitability of my business.
That's right.
Where would you
That's right.
even tell them to what do they need to know that they probably aren't even paying attention to?
Yeah, that's great. First of all, thank you for all of the nice compliments. That was lovely. So I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
I
I
had
want
to
to
defend
acknowledge that.
you.
So
You were
so
not
thank
defending
you.
yourself very well.
No, for sure.
Mm,
And I don't mind being vulnerable in this
yeah,
because, at this point, I'm at the point, 2 years ago, I probably would not have been as open to telling my story.
yeah,
Now that I'm working with dentists across the country and helping them improve their profitability because they've had the same story that I've had, right?
mhm,
I'm understanding that, this is like you mentioned, this is a pandemic across all of dentistry for solo private practice owners. This is a problem.
mhm,
Um, and there are solutions, and I don't want anybody to feel like they don't have options out there. So What I would say is, gosh, couple of really high level take homes are, let's do a really good job learning and understanding our financial health of our
Mm,
businesses, right?
mhm,
Um, I love dentistry. I love clinical dentistry. I agree with you that my practice has is first and foremost, right? Our driving force is taking care of patients to the best of our ability and providing the highest level of care possible. And we've made sure they were
mhm,
able to execute on that by getting the training through
mhm,
COIS, through PICOs, doing all the things that we needed to do. So we are operationally capable of executing at a high level, where most practice owners fall short of. We don't do the same thing necessarily for our financial health of our
mm,
business and take care of that side of the business. So what I would say is a big lesson learned from me, and something that I think is very important for private practice owners to make to get to a point where they have options. They feel like they understand and can make great decisions and aren't just reacting, but being more proactive. Is, let's do a great job understanding our financial health. Let's ask for help for those who can help us, and asking for help and receiving help to better understand your business and the health and financial positioning of your business is not giving up. Just like the same way me going to Kois and listening to John Kois and letting him train and help me so
right,
I can provide quality care, I don't think that's giving up. I think that's making sure I am equipped to handle anything that comes my way clinically. Let's do the same thing financially, right? Let's
right.
seek help. Let's understand our financial health and where our business is, what's going well, and then what are those opportunities for growth. And then let's figure out ways to do that, because it all comes back down to profitability. And I think
Yeah.
in dentistry, we have a hard time thinking about profitability being so important, because we do all put the patients first, but they go hand in hand. And without
Yeah.
profitability, we're stuck. We can't do the things that we need to do or want to do to best serve our communities.
Man, say that again. Say
Which
it
part?
again.
I said a
Because
lot. I don't
well,
know. If I'm
to
over speaking, Carrie, you just let me know. I
no,
feel
I
like
mean, I'm
I
just
have a
gonna sit
lot
back
to
and
say,
absorb
and
it
I
all.
want to share and be vulnerable and open. And hopefully, if anybody listens to this and hears this, that it's there's something there they can take from it.
I think what you said, I mean, my perspective of that is the practices that are able to provide the best care for patients, the doctors, really, if you think of optimal care, patient, and not just the clinical care, I'm talking about patient
Mhm,
relationships,
mhm,
are the
mhm.
ones that aren't inundated with financial stress because you're
100%.
you're able you're in a healthier place and space to
Mhm.
engage with your patients, relate with your patients, and take care of your patients and your team.
That's right.
And when you are not financially sound, when you are on, when you build your palace on sand,
That's right.
there's very little in the foundation that can keep you stable and steady and healthy and happy. And when you're not living your ideal vision of your practice, it comes out in a lot of ways called stress.
That's right.
And you cannot physically and emotionally be present in a way that would make you the healthiest and happiest you can be in your work or your patients or your team, because
For
it
sure.
all impacts each other.
I
And
love it.
that
Absolutely.
that financial know-how, some doctors track it and are great at it and understand it, and some don't, and a lot don't. And
A
I
lot
also
don't.
think, to your point,
I
Mark,
was
to be,
one.
to be vulnerable. I mean, to you say, like, I don't know that I would have shared all of this 2 years ago, because now you're in a healthier, happier place.
That's right. That's right.
But it's that vulnerability of seeking help and asking questions and saying, "Walk me through this, help me understand it better."
That's right.
Um, because there are stories hiding in our business's numbers, that are telling us things about the health of our business. And it's not just that you're hitting goals or not.
That's right. That's right.
There are things that maybe you don't even see because you're just in it too deep. And man, for you to recognize that and take that and run with that and improve based upon it. I mean, you're probably a completely different business owner now than you were 3, 4 years ago.
Absolutely. And like not to plug Jameson completely with a shameless plug, but that conversation with Jess was monumental, right? That was me asking for help, right? That
Yes.
was me asking for help. And luckily, it was at a time where Jess was also having those same thoughts and hearing those same things from other practice owners,
Yeah.
where we could start building something that would help the industry and help private practices just be in a better place to make better decisions,
Yeah.
be
I
healthier.
mean, elevating your financial IQ for your
Hmm.
practices before, if you can do this well before you want or are getting ready to sell, the better it is for you. And just to kind of piggyback on what you had shared about that kind of eye-opening experience that you two had, um, there are a lot of doctors out there that hit the point in their careers, in their age, or in their physical skill, ability, or whatever it is that the time has come to sell, and they aren't able to recoup from their businesses what they likely could have or should have. And it's devastating
It's
because
unfortunate.
you're going to spend your whole career, the majority of your lifetime building this business, your babies. And when you cannot recoup on that, what you needed or wanted to continue into retirement in the way that you wanted to, it's a very sad reality. But the thing is you all are doing that young with with still a lot of road ahead of you, and it's being
A lot of
proactive.
open sea.
And, yeah, the sea is right. You're just coming out of the whatever. I'm out of
No,
cliche
I
terms,
liked it. No,
but
and you're absolutely right, and not to fear monger it, but like consolidation's real. It's not stopping, right? It's moving, and we've already seen it from a couple of the largest purchasers of
mm,
private practices are slowing down, if not almost completely stopping purchasing practices, and they're just building their own
yeah,
because they're finding better value in that, right? So you're
yeah,
not wrong, right? We have to be very careful with what for most of us is our largest asset.
yeah,
It's our practice.
yes. So getting, raising your financial IQ on the
Yes.
operations of your business. Anything, one more thing. Give me one more thing that you say, doctors pay attention to this, or if you want to look at where to really, shore up your business and get it going in the direction you want to go. What's one more thing that you think they're probably not paying attention to or need to focus on?
Yeah, I would ask for help. Again, I would seek help, right? I think dentistry, you've already mentioned, it's super challenging, right? Being a clinician's extremely challenging.
Mm,
Owning a business is very challenging. We're asked to do both at the same time.
yeah.
It's almost unrealistic, right? So let's be okay with asking for help and seeking the professionals that are experts in this to help train us, to give us the information, right? So
Hmm.
we can grow in that way, just like we grow clinically.
Hmm. Ask for help.
Ask
Do
for
your
help.
do your work. I mean, continuously develop. It's just
That's
like
right.
we want hope for our teams, just like clinicians, and I, you're speaking from my playbook, Mark, in terms of continue to develop your skills clinically. Um, but if you really want to set yourself apart and you really want to get on a whole other level, um, in terms of your practice's success and profitability, um, you know, continue to develop your skills on the business side.
That's
Uh,
right.
that's going to be the difference maker in the end.
That's right.
So,
You got
man,
it.
you're the best.
You're the
I would
best,
say,
Carrie.
can we say if anyone wants to have a conversation with you, they can reach out to Jameson and we will connect those dots on your behalf. Would that be okay?
100%. I,
So,
I would
Doctor,
love to connect with anybody who this to whatever level resonates with them, let's have a conversation.
Yeah. Doctors, reach out if you want to have a conversation with Mark. I think it'll be time well spent. And then Mark can reach out to me and say, stop giving people my email.
No, you're good. I think as an industry too, right? Like dentistry, like we just talked about, is very hard. Ownership is very hard. Let's be kind to each other
Yep.
from practice owner to practice owner, right? We're all in this
Yep.
together. We're all in the same boat. Let's love each other.
That's right.
So
I just was
I'm on board.
talking about something else in my life. And I said, the way that you strengthen and stay healthy in various aspects of your life are through the power of community. And
Mhm.
so, this is a great
That's it.
opportunity to expand our community
That's
and
right.
help each other live this life the best way we know how in the world of
That's right.
dentistry. So you're the
That's
best,
right.
Mark. Thank you for being
You
with me.
are. You're
And hey,
welcome. My pleasure.
thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
You're so
So,
welcome.
and thanks to all of you on the Jameson Files community for staying connected with us. I hope this was a great session for you. It certainly was for me. So until next time, be well, and we'll see you soon. Thanks,
Bye.
Mark.